Hey guys, welcome back to Camille's Corner. So, y'all, let's talk about B. Smith's husband, Dan Gasby, and how people on the internet lack basic understanding. So, I made a video a few days ago titled B. Smith's husband is an example of why I don't want to get married. And if you remember, I did a video previously where I stated all the reasons why I didn't want to get married and why I felt it was unnecessary for me to get married. So when I made the B. Smith video, I assumed that my subscribers who saw the previous video would understand what I was saying. Well, the video got a lot of views and naturally it attracted a lot of new people to my channel. People who never saw the previous video and they had no context to what I was saying. So these people went off in the comments, y'all. I got dragged. People had a lot to say. I imagined them sitting behind their computers like this.
You big. Furthermore, I'm gonna the mother.
So yes, I read the comments on all of my videos. I might not be able to read all of them if it's a lot, but I usually try to read and react or respond to as many as possible. So I go to the comments on this video and a lot of people are dragging me like, how could you say a complete stranger is the reason you don't want to get married? And somebody actually said, the reason I don't want to get married is because I know deep down that my man is a Dan. And one of my personal favorites was somebody saying, damn, you want to be a girlfriend and a baby mama forever? And this disturbed me also. I wanted to make this video because I noticed a lot of the people leaving those comments were men. And these men seemed highly offended that a woman could possibly not want to get married. Like it's unbelievable to them that a woman, by her own choice and for completely valid reasons, wouldn't want to be married. Like, marriage is the ultimate goal of life, and there must be something wrong with someone who doesn't believe in marriage. So I was like, damn, where did all these angry men come from? They saw that video as me bashing men when it was nothing of the sort. So these men came for me, y'all, talking about no man would want to marry me anyway, and I'm just another single black female. Y'all, it got nasty. I blocked a lot of people last night.
Welcome to my block list. I block you, bitch. Block you, bitch. I block you, bitch. Block that bitch. I block you, bitch. Block you, bitch.
And ironically, those men who left those comments, they didn't exactly make me feel any more willing to get married. Like if y'all are what the world has to offer a woman, well, y'all are probably the reason that some woman somewhere doesn't want to get married. I'm just saying. So I want to explain this because this is what happens when people comment on videos without context. I'm sure 99% of the people who left those comments, they would not have left those comments if they had seen the previous video where I talked about why I don't want to get married. But they took the title of that B. Smith video literally. When I said B. Smith's husband is another example of why I don't want to get married, that's what I meant. I did not mean B. Smith's husband is the reason I don't want to get married. That would be stupid. I can't believe I even have to explain this, but I made a decision from early on that I didn't believe in marriage. B. Smith's husband was not a factor in that decision. The factors in that decision were seeing marriages falling apart all around me, seeing young people pressured into getting married before they were ready because they want to meet societal standards, and then they end up getting divorced months later. And seeing my own mother in a toxic marriage, seeing my grandmother be abused and mistreated by her husband, and all of that made me realize that marriage doesn't guarantee a happy or successful relationship. It made me realize that marriage is often done purely for legal purposes like insurance or finances and so on. And I explained that in my country, domestic partnerships or common law relationships are recognized just like a marriage. So I can have my partner on my insurance. I'm entitled to everything in a split that a married woman would be entitled to in a legal divorce. So I explained that there's nothing being married can offer me that I do not already have in my relationship. And I explained that maybe I am a bit superstitious that I've been in a relationship so long and I feel like getting married would just jinx it. And I explained that my partner has tried to put a ring on it several times, but he has accepted that that's not something that I want to do, and he understands why. So going back to the B. Smith situation, I spoke on that issue because it was a perfect example of how marriage vows have become so meaningless nowadays. You took a vow to honor your wife in sickness and in health, but when she gets sick, you get a mistress. You took a vow till death do us part, but you find a loophole in those vows to justify moving on while still keeping her around just so you can say, well, I'm still taking care of her. And I felt like that was a cop-out. That's a man who has disregarded the vows that he took as soon as things got complicated. And that is what I meant by he was an example of why I don't want to get married. Because I feel like nobody takes marriage vows seriously anymore. You get up at the altar and you say these words, but then you don't want to live by them. You find excuses and ways to justify breaking them. So what's the point, you know? And of course, it's not just B. Smith's husband. It's all around me. Like I said, my unmarried relationship has outlasted all of my married friends. I have one friend who got married in this lavish ceremony. She had a fairy tale wedding with the white dress and the decorations and the bridesmaids and all the works. It was gorgeous. And she posted all her wedding photos on social media, and she changed her last name on Facebook to her husband's last name. And about a month later, she deleted all those photos and she changed her name back to her maiden name. And I have another friend who got married really young. She was fresh out of school, like 18 or 19, and she's still married now, but she tells me all the time that she regrets getting married so young and that she feels trapped in her marriage. So to me, marriage signals ownership. Because some men think of women as property, and my decision not to get married is me saying, I'm your equal, I'm not your property. I'm with you because I want to be, not because I feel bound by this piece of paper. And while I personally don't want to get married, I still respect the institution of marriage. I'm going to be maid of honor at my best friend's wedding this year, and I hope and pray that her marriage is successful. I want her to be the first example of a successful marriage that I have ever seen in my life. I want her marriage to show me that maybe I might be wrong about marriage after all. So I felt compelled to make this video to clarify that I'm not saying Dan Gasby made me not want to get married. That would be stupid. I made that decision years ago before Dan Gasby was even a topic of discussion. I thought that was clear, but sometimes people on the internet require things to be explained to them in the simplest terms because they don't want to do the thinking themselves. So to that person who said that I don't want to get married because deep down I know I chose a man like Dan, what can I say to that? Maybe I did. I can't see the future. I guess when I get old and sick I'll find out. So yeah, hopefully this video provided some context and people used the brains that God gave them before spouting off. I still stand by what I said about Dan Gasby, which is that he made a mockery of his marriage vows and he's bending them to suit himself, which is selfish and disrespectful to his wife of 26 years. That's my opinion, and everybody else is entitled to theirs. So don't come for me.
Come for me, bitch, you don't come for me. I am gonna come for you. Girl, your egg is not on fleek, no. And your hair looking weak. No. Bitch, don't come for me. Bitch, don't come for me.
Bitch, don't come for me.
I said your edge is not on fleek, no. And your hair looking weak. No. Please don't come for me. Oh, baby, don't come for me.
Bye guys, and thanks for watching.